It's like work out if your stuff works before you put it to the real test. Like, you
Yeah.
know,
And
just
also,
work out if it works.
yeah, as we're having this conversation, I'm actually really interested to basically understand that. So I know obviously you've gotten to that level of consistency and, you know, that point of having to be a consistently profitable trader. So I want to know from your perspective and, you know, from your point of view, the meaning of a consistently profitable trader, like not figure wise, not you know, monetary wise, but obviously from your kind of perspective, what defines a consistent, profitable trader from your own perspective? That's all I need to know.
Well, it's over a period of time. Like, I've had I've had very small winning months, but then I have large winning months, you know, and it's just
Yeah.
about over the long period of time that you're profitable. Is, to be honest, that question isn't, it's more defined. Like, there is no
Yeah.
way for me to define it. It is more so the sort of like definition of it, because if it's consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, consistent doesn't mean that you win every day. Consistent doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you win every week. Consistent means that over a long period of time that you're building percentage, like that you're growing over a period of time. That's what it all is about. Whereas people think to be consistent, you need to win every trade, you need to win every week. People will say that I'm wrong, but that's my perspective. You know, you don't need to win every day, you don't need to win every week, and that is the true reality of it. If you want to win every day, then you're going to be trading, like, that's when it starts to go downhill.
Sure. That's quite something. Eh? I think that one of the biggest things that I've actually learned as well on my journey of trading is that like every trader eventually has to experience that loss. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna be 100% right. Like you are gonna get to that point in phase where you're just losing trades. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you're just having a bad week. But
Of
that bad week
course.
must not, you know what I'm saying? Like you get to that point where you're just like taking stop losses every single day in that week and you're just trying and everything is just going south, you know what I'm saying? But like the biggest thing is to make sure that like your losses don't amount to, you know, the number of wins you have. I mean, in my perspective, if you're consistently profitable, you're able to actually experience losses but still come out a winner, you know what I'm saying? Like you go
100%. And I'm
through.
just going to quickly, I want to just address that comment there, Mila. Mila, not
Yeah.
to put you down, but pips to me mean nothing, okay? Because there's no reason to count pips. It's all about the percentage. Because of when you think about it, what's the difference between risking 20 pips to gain 40 and risking 100 pips to gain 200? No difference at all. They're both, if you
Yeah.
risk 1% on both, they're both a 1 to 2 risk to reward. And so it's both the exact same thing. So personally, pips for me, like counting the pips, it's not pips, it's not money, it's all in the percentage. So that's just my perspective of that.
I,
Not to
I
put you
think
down, but that's
I'm
just
also
my
catching
view.
something from that comment that you don't really have to look at how many pips you're losing. Just look at how much you're losing in the account, like the percentage wise. Like, are you losing 1% or 2%, regardless of the amount of pips you're actually like kind of risking? I think that's what
Yeah.
I'm picking up from that comment.
And that's it, like 100%. Because if it's the same thing, you know, like a 20 pip stop loss to gain 40 pips is the same as risking 30 pips to gain 60 pips. It's the same as risking 100 pips to gain 200 pips. So many different
That's
traders.
very true, bro.
And like this is what I like to see people now sinking in, that it is purely and simply just a numbers game. It is like, that's the true reality of it. And I've got so much, I try and put out as much content as possible to define how much it is. And that's why I put out there for everyone to always keep their risk the same. Because if, for example, if I risk 1% and I win a 1 to 2 risk to reward, then on the next trade, I risk 2% and I lose. I'm then back at zero, rather than risking the 1% and still being up 1%. You've got to keep it
Yeah.
consistent over and over again to be able to obviously build a consistency. It's just, otherwise you'll never get off the
That's quite a
ground. You'll never get
perspective,
off the
bro.
ground.
I'm also learning, bro. Like I think I never really got time to look at it from that perspective, even though like whenever I come into whatever trade I come into, I basically calculate how much I'm ready to lose on that trade. I never really looked at it from that percentage perspective of actually saying, you know, I'm not losing 30 pips, I'm actually losing 1%. So, you know, 20 pips is the same as 100 pips if the percentage is still the same. I think that's quite a perspective, and that's what I'm really learning from this live, bro.
100%. Like, and that's why I never talk pips. Like, that's just my way of looking at things. When you like, if a trader tells you,
bro.
if a trader tells you they caught 100 pips, terrific, but they could have been risking 200.
Yeah. That could also be like 1% of their trading accounts. You know what I'm saying? Like if they caught 200 pips, that 200 pips could have easily been 100, like a percentage of their account. So, I mean, I'm really like changing my perspective right now.
And Mila, listen, I thank you. Like, this has made the live worth it because I impacted one person. I'm never here to impact everyone. People won't even, some people will hate me from this live. Some people will like me, but the fact I've impacted one person, that's all good for me. Let me just take a quick look at these guys.
Yeah, let's have a look at
Since
the
you guys are
comments.
technical traders, do you take into consideration news events and why? I take into consideration news events because of around news, I try and minimize my risk. That's the only reason I look at news. And again, everything goes back to the risk. Okay, everything goes back to risk. I look at news to minimize my risk. If there's a high impact news event and I'm in a trade and I can move my stop loss to break even, I will, because I don't want to be whipped out the market for 1% loss purely and simply on the back of news. I would rather be taken out for break. Like, this is one of my sayings, right? And the people have started to like this one. Break even is a win. Break even's a win.
Yeah.
The market didn't beat you. The market didn't take your loss. So a break even is a win in my eyes. That's the way I see it. You know, and that's something that I've said in my that's something I've said in a recent YouTube video that blew up in the comments, that literally break even's a win. Like, when you start to look at it like that, just get your stop loss to break even when you can, and if you get stopped out of break even, you beat the market. The market didn't beat you.
Phew, bro, that is very deep, bro. That's really deep, man. So I'm also like very interested in how you got to that level of, like, you know, that trader's mindset. Like, when was that aha moment that you had, like, in your whole trading career? Like, you know, obviously you started out, you had no one to teach you. You were just alone in your own corner, and you know, you basically got to that level where you just had a lot of trial and errors. And you got to that point where you're like, you know what, like, I'm at that point where I'm consistent. Like, when was that, and what did it take for you to actually get there? Like, what made you realize?
It was over time. Like, there was never that eureka moment. Like, and to be honest with you, no, you don't really just have that eureka moment, you know, because of it's like what I say to you, it's over a period of time. So once I realized that over a period of time that I had made great percentage, it was then like, right, I've done this once, now let's do this again. Now let's do this again over a period of time. It's never just you have that one eureka moment. The only people that have that one eureka moment are the people that flip their account. They feel eureka, and then next day they blow it, and they're like, back to square one. My strategy doesn't work. That's the way that it goes. It's like that. For me, there was no eureka moment. It was at the end of the period of time, over the period of probably a year, I looked back and I thought, right, I've been consistently profitable. Now we're good to go. Let's repeat.
Cute.
That's it.
Yeah.
So basically, for me, there's no eureka, you know, there's no like, bang, I'm a great trader, or bang, I'm a consistent trader. It's just over a period of time when you see the consistency play out.
Yeah. It all goes back to my favorite statement that I tell every single one that's on my lives every single time, that you can't cheat the element of time in this industry. Like, you have to
you can. Yeah. Back test.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even that back testing is you putting in the work and the hours to basically understand. Like, you really need to get to that point where you sacrifice time for you to actually get to that consistent level. And this is what people don't do. Like, you get people aspiring to be great, like as great as yourself, because you're honestly putting out the work out there, and they're looking at your work and they're saying, you know what, like, I really need to get to this level of consistently getting directional bias right. Like, and they don't really put in the time. They just sit around and they just wait for that time where they like, I'm now consistent. I don't even know how it happened. I just got to this point where, you know, that Instagram trader mindset, like, because most people don't really put in the process, like, behind you getting to that point of actually being consistently profitable on your trading. And this is why I'm saying you really can't cheat the element of time, because somewhere in between the career, you really have to put in the time to basically get to that point where you're consistent with your bias and analysis.
Like the one thing I'll say to a lot of people here, right, is take a deep look at yourself and say to yourself this: do you have a trading plan?
Yeah.
Like, now, I do a lot of one-to-ones, okay? And I'm not, again, I repeat this all the time because I never want to hear hurt anyone's feelings. But if you don't have a trading plan, what are you doing in the market? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing in the market if you don't have a trading plan? Now, a trading plan should consist of an analysis plan. It should consist of an entry plan. It should consist of a take profit plan where you target your risk management plan, how much you risk, your risk percentage, your stop loss placement should be the same every time. The reason why your stop loss placement should be the same every time is because if you have a different stop loss every time, if you get stopped out, you're going to say to yourself, I should have had it higher. I should have had it higher. But if you backtest your stop loss every time, whether it be 20 pips above the candle or whether it be above the most recent high, if you do that every time and you know you're profitable, then do it every time. If you don't do it every time, then you're just going to blame yourself and say, I had my stop loss too close. But if you don't, if you do have the same every time, you've got nobody to blame. The biggest killer is is by blaming yourself. So that's one tip for you there, is to backtest your stop loss placement. The next thing in your risk management plan should be how you manage your trades. And then after a risk management plan, you need a daily routine of how you're going to execute your plan. What time do you wake up? What time do you check the charts in the morning? Are you a full-time trader? If so, great, then you've got all the time in the world. If not, does your strategy work around your job? If your strategy doesn't work around your job, you need to adapt yourself to a strategy that does work around your job. And I get paid, like I do one-to-one calls to tell people this, but I hope you guys are writing this down and you build yourself a trading plan. Once you've built your trading plan, you then backtest your trading plan, and then you prove to you that it works over a period of time. Don't just backtest 1 week and say to yourself, this doesn't work. Don't just backtest 1 week and say it doesn't work. Like, backtest a year, backtest 2 years worth of data and see whether over the long run it worked. I got a question here of how do you backtest, and you can use so many different things. I did a live, I've just started something new with my community, which is live interactive backtesting, where we all jump on Zoom and one member or a student comes forward and they take the session with my guidance. And yeah, so I use the Forex software on MT4 for that. You can do it on TradingView. There's Forex Tester. Like, and listen, guys, if you don't have the money to pay for TradingView Pro, just create 10 emails and just get the free trial for 10 months. Like, each month when you need the free trial, just get the free trial. Do what you got to do to be able to get yourself that. You know, like, you can do it. There's no excuses as to why you can't do something. Instead of blowing your $100 account, take out your $100, buy the software for the Forex tester, and then back test for a year and do whatever else you got to do. You know, there's no excuses because you want the money now. Just focus on the long run all the time. I'm just going to read some comments.
I think it goes back to what you said when we started the live, that you really need to take it as a business and really put in every single tools and resources you have to basically grow this craft, because you can't really expect to make it big like in the space of a month or two. You really can't. And So this is the biggest problem that we have, and I was basically addressing this on my live the other day, and I was saying that in SA we do have great traders who've done great things, but in my perspective, I feel like we're not at that consistent level, even with the guys who've actually been at the forefront. Because then you find that someone comes into the markets and they become like the biggest thing for a year, and after that they basically just fade away. They just, you know, they just disappear because they never really invested in the consistency. They got to that point by mistake, and this wasn't by means of, you know, working towards being that great person that they actually are in the game. You know, looking at that Instagram perspective of things, like, and as a result, like, you find that a lot of people are just not really making it in the game after a couple of years. So someone's going to come in this year, make it big, buy themselves a car, you know, live that trader's lifestyle, wearing branded clothes, you know, popping bottles and stuff. But after a year, they just back at square one, where they need to start afresh and start over. And I think the main reason behind this is because we don't really put in so much attention and so much focus on the craft, and we're really focusing on the figures that we're making instead of actually growing in the game and in the skill.
Why do you need to, why do you, like, but for me, yeah, this is like, now maybe I'm different. I trade for a living. I don't trade for watches. Like, that's not really what I do, you know. Like, my phone tells me the time. It's like I don't really trade for that sort of stuff. You can go on my personal Instagram and you'll see I don't trade for that stuff. I like a holiday, yeah, but that sort of stuff's not for me. And that's maybe why I made it a little bit quicker than some other people, because of I'm not here just for that quick fancy stuff, you know. Like, why would you need to buy a car if you can't even buy yourself a house? Or do you see what I mean? It's like, just sort of put that into perspective, you know. Like, I'm just not a branded person, or I'm just not a person that does that. I would rather just spend the money on like my trading setup or something like that I use every day, rather than, like, it's just my way of seeing things, you know. It's just my way of seeing things. Like, my phone would tell me the time the same way a Rolex would tell me the time. So it's like, just put that aside. It's still the same time. It's still the same time. My phone and the Rolex will still tell me the same time, you know. So it's like, for now, just put that aside. Just put that aside, and just, it all comes back to the skill. It all really does come back to the skill. And to be honest with you, when I first started trading, I did trade for the same thing. I traded for the same thing because I wanted the good stuff. Like, I wanted the good stuff now. But then it was like, it just weren't working. So I just thought, can you show us his studio? I don't really have a studio. Like, that's the office. And then that's the setup. I don't really have a studio. This is all you need.
That's very true, man. Looks very beautiful, bro. So, bro, I think that I truly appreciate the mindset, because I feel like a lot of people need to be inspired by the mindset more than the results. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't look at how much someone is making. Just look at the amount of work they put in to basically be where they are. And that's
but Martin, they can't see that. Like, where do you go and look at Jeff Bezos's before to see where he got to now? There's a lot of things that you can't see. Like, where, you know, there's a lot of things that you can't see, and it's like, people have just got to take your word for it. And that's why. And I'm not a salesman, you know, and I don't sell to people, but it's like, that's why my community do really well, because of, you can't teach this stuff, you can only show it to them. So my community see me only taking 1, 2, maximum 3 trades a week to build my 2.5% to 3%, or maybe 5% in a very good week. That's what they see me build. And because they see it play out over and over, and I may make 5% one week, lose 1% the next week, then make 3% the next week, but yet I finish the month with 8% profit. that's what it's all about. It's a hard thing to teach. It's only able to, you're
Numbers
only able
game,
to
bro.
sort of show it, you know. But this is another thing, less is more. Like less trades equals more results. People will say how? Well, it's because you got less chance of giving back your profit to the market. Like if you
Bro,
take,
that's
if you take one trade that's a break even, you take another trade that wins you 3%, you then take another trade that loses you 1%, and you finish the week with 2% profit. Do that every week, and you bank 8% in a month. You're a very good trader. Don't let anybody tell you different. Whether it's 8% on £10 or 8% on £1,000 or £1,000,000, you're a very, very, very good trader. And guys, I appreciate all the love in the building. Ricky G, bro, how you doing?
Yeah, but bro, thank you so much, man, for the knowledge. I think what I'm taking from this live is that if you're really not treating your trading career as a business, there's very minimal chances of you making it, and
100%.
you really need to take it as, you know, the numbers
One
game.
last tip for everybody, and I'm going to bring a YouTube. I said it a while ago, and I don't know why. It's actually on my whiteboard over there that I need to release this video, but I'm going to release it about how to build a journal, because the sooner you start to journal, that's where it then becomes, you know, that's where it then happens. I had a student, and I won't mention his name, but he's been with us quite a while, and he never got off the break-even stage because he was always focused on the money. As soon as he started to journal, and I said to him, just focus on the percentage, in like the first month, I think he did like 12%. But because of the 12% was only on like a £500 account, it didn't feel like much.
Yeah.
You know, what's £60 on a £500 account? It's nothing. But yet when you look at 12%, it's crazy. Like that's great returns.
Yeah. I mean, if you take that £500 to £5 million, then that makes sense. And eventually, with the years, I mean, if you're already building consistently, and you know you're obviously building their account. I mean, a couple of years down the line, you will have a big account because obviously the account will be on the positive scale and not on the negatives.
100%. And that's why I'm going to release the video, because the sooner people start to journal and just like, if there was a way that you could tap into MT4 and just remove the balance and just make it percentage, that would be great. Like, sorry, my battery.
Yeah.
But if there was a way to do that, it would be great. So, but yeah, brother, I really appreciate you coming on here. Just quickly, guys, any questions that you guys got, just fire away at me. I'll do a quick 4-minute question Q&A if you guys have got any questions. And then 9 o'clock, this is it. This is the life, bro. I'm still here, not in not at dinner or anything like that, but it's all good. Let's have a look at the question. How do I know if a company? I can't open it up though, bro.
Let me open it up. He says, how do I know if the company is legit? I've lost my significant amount of money when they lied me to teach, but wanted me. I don't know, bro. Like the English is also not so well, but I think the question basically says, how do they know whether the trading institution is legit or not? Because they've basically paid a whole lot of amounts to different institutions with promises of them making it even quicker.
The best way is their students. Like that's the best way really, like, is their students. Because at the end of the day, somebody may be a great trader, but it's whether they can teach to be a great trader. When I first taught, I taught people for free because I didn't know if I could teach. I literally taught for free because I didn't know if I could teach. Like, that's the truth, because I couldn't charge somebody. Handling risk with crypto, that's a bit more in detail, but I don't day trade crypto, so I'll move on.
Yeah, so I think those are like the.
Do you guys look at trading sessions? I take into account. I'll just quickly fire back. I do take into account trading sessions. I don't really enter before I go to bed in the Asian session. Do I believe in robots? Not really, because if it worked, then everyone would use them. Such informative live, my pleasure. How do you select charts for trading week? Do you select randomly? No, I select markets which are trending, not markets that are ranging. That's my filtering process. Who is Marco? All I've been seeing is Marco.
Yeah, I don't know who Marco is, bro, but I've also been seeing the comments. But yeah, man, I don't know who that is.
I think they want you to save this live, bro.
Yeah, I will save the live. It will be on my timeline, so you guys can go check it out later. But shout out, James. Thank you so much for the hour that you just borrowed me from your busy schedule, bro. I truly appreciate it, man.
It's not a problem. It's not a problem at all.
Yeah, so guys, please go follow my brother James. You know, if you're from SA and you really want to get like proper content on chart work, just go follow him right now.
Literally,
go follow him, bro.
I don't want nothing from you. Head over to the YouTube, watch the content. There's literally like so much content that I'm putting out this year. And the only reason why is because of I always strive to be somebody that I wished I had when I started. That was why I do what I do. But guys, listen, I wish you all the best. Remember the keys of the numbers game, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Take care.
Thank you so much, James.
Martin,
keep
speak to you soon. Thanks for having me. Been a real pleasure. Bye-bye.
Thanks, bro. Cheers. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining on my live. I will save the live video on my timeline, and I'm trying to get like more people coming onto these lives. Scheduling a live with one of the great traders in the world, so you guys must stay tuned. You know, so thank you so much, guys. I'm also out. The video will be on my timeline if you need it. So bless up, guys. Bless up, guys.